Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome one and all to tonight's episode of The Adventure Continues, a Star Trek discussion. This will be episode number 31 of The Adventure Continues, where tonight I am joined by Stone Cold Loki, and we are inviting all of you to join us over in Cosby as we watch and discuss the episode featured tonight, and that episode is Space Seed. But first, Loki, how are you doing, brother?
Doing good, man. Doing good. What a great intro, man. Absolutely just, you knocked my socks off, brother. Right there, right in the opening. You set the pace, the tone. It looks great. I can't wait to talk about this episode.
Yes, and the thing about this episode is it aired in February of 1967, and the exact date was February 16th of 1967. It was episode 22 of the first season of the original series. It was directed by, Mark Daniels, and it was written by Gene L. Kuhn and Kerry Wither. But what was the reason why you selected this great episode?
Dude, this is probably my favorite episode of the original series, just because Khan ends up being such a awesome villain. Not only in the original series, but obviously in the movie for the original series as well, Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan. It kind of follows up on everything in this, and it makes it feel like a full circle. You've got such a great episode of Star Trek with both. You got two great people in this. You got Ricardo Montalban, and you've got Madeline Rue as Lieutenant MacGyvers. MacGyvers. So it's great how everything comes full circle in the movie, and it's a real tie-in to what we get later from Paramount with the movie series, the 6 original series movies we get.
And, speaking of the movie, I mean, it is fascinating that out of all the original 79 episodes, Nicholas Myers and Harv Bennett decided Space Seed's the one we're going to base the next movie around.
Yeah, and Harv Bennett spent what, like 2 or 3 weeks in a hotel room watching every episode of the original series, and then said, "This is what we're going to do. We're going to do the Revenge of Khan. Khan's going to come back, and it's going to be the revenge, the wrath of Khan." And yeah, it worked, man. They pulled it off. It's, in my opinion, the best Star Trek movie there is Wrath of Khan.
It definitely is, because it ties everything together from one particular episode. It really shows what kind of group you have on board the Enterprise, and what being stranded on Ceti Alpha 5 really did to Khan and his followers. Losing McGivers because of the ear slug, and
yeah, and he acts like that's Kirk's fault. That's one of the wonderful things, like, that I totally believe carries over from this episode is he most likely did that to her, yet he blames Kirk for the death of his wife.
Mm-hmm.
So most likely he put that thing in her ear to control her, because she was a mouthy woman. She was mouthy and she was independent, but she loved the power dynamic. I mean, we see that in this episode. She loves that power dynamic. She loves dangerous men. And he doesn't like the fact that she's got these moments where her will overpowers that. And I can completely see from this episode, if she got mouthy and disrespectful or just wouldn't do what he told her to do, he would do something like that, and she ends up dying, and he ends up blaming that on Kirk too. So
absolutely, and you could even see in this episode how power hungry Khan is, especially when he takes over the Enterprise. Of course, everybody who decides to pop on in is more than welcome to. The Cosby link is pinned to the chat on YouTube, Rumble, and Blaze. And speaking of those 3 platforms, hello to everybody. If you'd like to join us, please do so now, because I'm hitting play on the episode.
Old YT 100 class.
Mm-hmm. And see, just in these first few moments, we get some information as far as Earth ships going this deep into space.
Yeah, and there should be no reason why a ship that doesn't have warp drive should be there, and yet it is. How did it get out here? How did it end up here? Where did it come from?
Did it encounter another ship that brought it out that far, or because it was launched in 1996, was it adrift out there for all those years for the Enterprise to find it eventually?
Or did aliens find it and
Mm-hmm.
upgrade it? Being used by aliens. No Chekhov and no Sulu in this episode either.
No.
Even though
I,
Khan would later say that Chekhov was there, they wrote it in like he was on the night crew or something. But yeah, no Chekhov and no Sulu.
well, would you like to go a little further into that? What your thought is as to how Khan actually knows of Chekhov? Was he on the night crew? Was he on the lower decks of the Enterprise? And we just didn't see it because it was off screen?
Yeah, and where was Sulu? Was Sulu,
Mm-hmm.
at the Blue Oyster Bar having drinks, or what was going on?
And let's also not forget that in the second pilot, where no man has gone before, Sulu was in the science division. So what is he in one of the Enterprise's science labs or doing research? And that's why he wasn't on the bridge?
Yeah, it had to be somewhere because he obviously knew who Khan was.
Mm-hmm.
When he looks up from this console in Wrath of Khan, he's like, holy crap. and Chekhov knew him, and he knew Chekhov, so they
Mm-hmm.
played it like they were there, and I
Yep.
can appreciate that.
It just shows that Harv Bennett and Nicholas Myers really cared if they're going to say that Sulu and Chekhov were there, even though they were never seen in this episode. But I don't want to be rude. I do. Helion, who says that she is currently at the hospital with her brother. I hope your brother's doing okay. And
Yeah. Hopefully that he is okay. I'm so sorry to hear that.
so we're already being told by Bones that there's 60 to 70 bodies over there on that ship.
60 to 70 genetically enhanced superhumans.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? What was his one called that he actually named Joaquin? Was it Joaquin?
Yeah, Joaquin was the one that we actually get a name for.
Yeah. They had to cut that. I don't know if you know that or not, but there were scenes with the genetic superhumans that they had to cut because their clothing was too risque. I mean, man, we saw all kinds of stuff. We saw on Star Trek, we saw Orion's slave girls, we saw girls in bikinis, but
Mm-hmm.
the con women were too revealing.
You look at some of the costumes you saw of the Double Girls on DS9.
Yeah,
And they were able to get away with that. So it just
Yeah.
shows you how, standards and practices change as far as television's concerned, as far as movies are concerned.
And speaking of, what they were wearing, that out of every guest star that's in Star Trek, Khan had more costume changes than anybody. He actually
Mhm.
wears 5 different outfits in this episode. And they are uniquely for him because of his build. So when the prop and art department got his measurements, they were like, there's no way this is right. Something's wrong here. And they messaged him back, and he had to actually call them and say, no, it's right. That's my proportions. That's because his chest was so massive. And nobody knew that. You know, he was always wearing a suit when he was in Fantasy Island, and he had never really like stripped down. Well, he was built. He was jacked for the 60s, man.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see it once they bring him out of the hibernation chamber. You know, what his physique was back in the 60s, like you're saying. No steroids. That's just pure muscle. But I do want to say hello to the Admiral herself, the Guardian of the Void, the Keeper of the Dragons, Lady Mist. Good to see you tonight, Lady Mist.
Lady Mist, it's good to see you. Hopefully you have fun. I love this episode. I absolutely love it. Hopefully you're watching it with us.
Yep, she is over in Cosby. And that's the thing that I was thinking about when I was coming up with the idea for the show. Could I have it like a lot of other channels where we're trying to remember everything verbatim from our own memory and discuss it that way? Or could I share it with an audience and have them come into Cosby like we are tonight and watch it all together and then see what everybody has to say about the episode, whether it's their first time watching it or, you know, their 100th time watching it?
And McGivers looks so good in that little skirt. My.
That's the thing. None of the women looked bad in the skirts in the original series.
Nope.
They're all very beautiful.
Absolutely. And you can totally see why Khan's like, you. I will have you.
I mean, she's striking. She's absolutely breathtaking.
Oh, yeah, she's beautiful.
And you can already see that she's taken by him.
Oh, yeah. She's getting excited. So we've got this outfit, the chain link outfit. We've got his outfit in sickbay. We've got the outfit he's wearing when she comes to see him. We've got the outfit he wore to dinner, and we've got the outfit he uses after he takes command of the ship. That's just, I mean, that's like, who gets the most outfits? You'd think it would be a chick, right? You'd swear it's going to be a woman. A woman's going to get the most outfits, especially the beautiful, let me tell you, man, the beautiful Romulan that is in the Enterprise incident. Oh, I absolutely love her. But no, it's Khan. Of course it's Khan. He's a diva. He's a male diva. So it's got to be Khan.
And speaking of the Romulan woman that was in the Enterprise incident, have you ever watched Star Trek Continues?
Yeah.
Her daughter reprises her mom's role.
Oh, that's amazing. I didn't know that. You know, originally, what's her name? The half Vulcan in Wrath of Khan.
Kirstie Alley?
Kirstie Alley. Man, why can't I think of her Star Trek name? Her character name.
Saavik.
Saavik. Thank you. So originally, Saavik was supposed to be Spock and her's daughter, and no one was supposed to know that. No one was supposed to know.
I'd always heard, and, you know, everybody kind of poo-pooed it, but that Saavik was supposed to be introduced as a Romulan servant.
Yes, half Romulan, half Vulcan. Yes, a half Romulan, half Vulcan. That's why Spock was supposed to take her under his wing. So I've heard so many different stories about that. Like she didn't know, but he knew, and all this stuff. She didn't know until after he died. And there was all these things that were written and ideas they had that were just great. But,
well, it's just like in Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home. It was supposed to be that after Saavik and Spock experienced on Far together on Genesis, that Savick was supposed to be pregnant in the voyage home, but
Yes.
Leonard Nimoy cut that out.
That's because she was supposed to be pregnant, and that's why she didn't go with them. Was that she was supposed to be pregnant and she was going to stay on Vulcan and have the baby. So they almost like they were going to reuse the idea of the Romulan keeping it a secret, and Savick was supposed to stay and keep it a secret that she had Spock's baby. So it's just, man, there's so much Star Trek stuff that they could have done that they didn't do, or that they wrote and then they changed their mind, or they left it up to the fans to decide. That's what a lot of us loved about it, is there was so much just possibilities, as Spock liked to say.
I mean, every episode left it up to the viewer to say, was this the right decision? Was that the right decision?
Yeah.
What should Kirk have done? What should Picard have done? Cisco. Well, we know Cisco was going to do whatever it took to save the Federation during the Dominion War. And Janeway, as long as there was coffee in the nebula, that's how she would get Voyager home. But go ahead.
I was going to say, originally, before they named him Khan, and before they decided he was going to be like genetically enhanced, the original script, I can't remember, it was like Harold Erickson, that's what it was not a genetically engineered super tyrant. They had shipped the most dangerous convicts that were on Earth off planet to go start colonies. So just like, Botany Bay in Australia, the English sent their prisoners there to live on that island. The idea was that these non-supermen that were just like the most dangerous criminals ever were sent off, and Harold Erickson was one of them, and that's who it was supposed to be, was this like Viking-like character that was this evil villain. And eventually, when Gene got a hold of the script, he said, hey, let's change this. Let's do this genetic superhero thing I've been thinking about. And that's how Khan came to be.
Yeah, because I was reading the original writer was ticked off at Gene Roddenberry for actually taking his script and rewriting it.
Yes. That happened a lot. That didn't just happen to them. That happened to every single writer on Star Trek. And it happened in Next Gen, too. Gene would take their stuff, change it, put his name on it, and they'd get credit, but he'd also get credit because he changed some stuff. Even DC Fontana said that, because DC Fontana helped do the encounter at Farpoint in Next Gen, and he had written out a whole bunch of her stuff and added a bunch of his stuff and got co-writing credit for it. She didn't like that. None of them really like that.
No, you can't blame him. I mean, one person that was notorious for voicing his thoughts on Gene Roddenberry doing that was Harlan Ellison.
Yes. And I'm not banging on Gene. I love Gene. Great bird of the galaxy, creator of Star Trek. Star Trek wouldn't exist without Gene. But it also wouldn't exist without these other writers and talents as well, including DC Fontana, who was like the mother of Star Trek.
Yeah, she's the mother of Star Trek. She's the mother of the Vulcans. Because she's the one that helped develop Spock as a character.
And boy, did she. A man that does not show any emotion. How infuriating that must be to the women around him. And she played one of the love interests of the women around him. Khan's awake. He's like, I'm awake. Where am I? What's going on? And he does his little like stretch routine.
I mean, the fact that Ricardo was the first and really only choice that they wanted to play Khan, they hit it out of the park. I can't think of any other actor during the 60s, especially, that could have played Khan as well as he did.
Well, and DeForest Kelly loved Ricardo Montalban. DeForest Kelly said he was the best person to work with on any episode of Star Trek by far. He was the best guest star they had. And I'm like, yeah, he knew what was going on.
And this line coming up here, I do like it. Just the way DeForest Kelly delivers it.
Took me or cut my throat. Make up your mind. Oh, Bones was perfect, dude. DeForest Kelly just, man, you can't replace these people. You can't. They need to stop trying. I understand Carl Urban is great, and I actually liked his rendition of Bones. I had no problem with Carl's rendition of Bones because he sat there and he watched. He did all these. He watched episodes. He watched the old westerns that DeForest was in.
Mhm.
That way he could get his mannerisms and how he acted. I have no problem with Carl Urban playing Bones. But guys, stop. You've got diminishing returns. Okay? For every person that does a worse job, it just gets worse. Please, Paramount, please do not touch any of this era ever again that has anything to do with these main characters.
They really need to leave this era in particular alone. They've already tarnished it enough with Discovery and Strange New Worlds.
Ugh. Strange New Worms.
Oh gosh, I was invited into a Discord to watch the first episode of Strange New Worlds. The moment the female captain called the communicator a phone, I said, "I'm out."
Khan didn't even answer. He's like,
No.
Is that any of use to you? And he didn't even answer because he would have to admit, yeah, no, yeah, I don't know shit. Now it's a game of wills.
Mm-hmm.
And Kirk's like, nope.
Khan's gonna try to find a way into control.
Just Khan. I find myself growing fatigued, Doctor. Dude, you couldn't have anybody else do this.
No,
you just couldn't. And who the hell thinks Benjamin Cumberbatch or whatever the hell his name is would ever be able to come close to playing Khan?
He did it because back when Into Darkness came out, I went with my friend and his girlfriend at the time. And we're watching it. They're looking at my reaction and they're asking me after the movie's all said and done, "So what did you think of it?" And I said, "Wrath of Khan is better. It's on Netflix. Watch it."
Yeah, you just go watch Wrath of Khan.
Of course, he and his girlfriend liked it, because they're not big Star Trek fans. So it gave them something that they wanted. But I said, if you really want to know about these characters, watch The Wrath of Khan, watch the original series.
Yeah, watch Space Seed, man. This was one of the few episodes that I had on VHS. And it may have been, I don't know if it was the first, but I know it was close. This is one of the very first episodes that were ever on VHS tape because they didn't release them in order, unfortunately. They went with like what was most popular.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say they were released out of order because I remember going to Universal Studios Hollywood one year and going into one of the gift shops, and I ended up buying the episode Tomorrow Is Yesterday because that was the very first episode I'd ever seen of Star Trek. And when I saw it available to purchase, I looked at my mom, looked at my dad. They gave me my wallet, and I ended up buying it.
Yeah.
Because, that's the thing. We all have an episode of the original series that we can say, this is the episode that started it all.
It's true. I know this is the first episode I can remember, but I know it's the first episode I can remember because I saw it more than others.
Mm-hmm.
So, honestly, if I had to pick a top 5, this is going to be it. It'll switch between Balance of Power, this, and the Enterprise incident are constantly swapping in my first place category. One of them is always inching out the other for whatever reason.
And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that because, as many times as we even watch an episode like Space Seed, we might catch something that we didn't catch before. That, moves it up in the ranks.
Can I just say, I mean, all the topics in this episode are all relevant today.
Mm-hmm.
You've got eugenics, genetic superiority, ambition, dangers of playing God with human evolution, the dominant submissive themes with Khan and MacGyver's, McGibbons, the name Kirk can never remember. Which they never ever say her name in the movie. I thought that was fun. It's just it's this. All of this is still relevant today.
Mm-hmm.
There is no, hey, we need to remake this and have her doing this instead of him being in control and blah blah blah. But no, this was perfect, especially at the time it was in. This is perfect. Leave it alone.
I appreciate you saying that because I have had some people come by saying, Mike, don't you think Star Trek needs to change with the times? I tell them, I say, no. You stick with the formula of Star Trek that actually works. Not what you get from Kurtzman Trek. Not what you get from J.J. Abrams. But the original formula that still works today.
Absolutely. Look at her, dude. She's so she's beautiful.
She's stunning.
Scotty, okay, so that's another thing. You just saw Scotty in his dress uniform. This is the only episode of the original series where Scotty's in his dress out uniform and he's not wearing a kilt. He's wearing pants.
Mm-hmm. Because the other time we see him in his dress uniform, he's wearing the kilt.
Yeah, except for this one episode. Who knows? Maybe they didn't have one for him. Maybe it wasn't clean. Maybe whatever. But we're into Khan's, fourth outfit now?
Yep.
The diva. And she's got her hair down.
Mm-hmm. And, Khan's doing what he can do to get her memorized, get her under his spell.
Yeah. Monobon's like 40 in this, and he does not look 40 at all.
No, he looks very good for his age back when this episode was filmed and then when it aired.
Maybe like a late 20s, early 30s. He doesn't look 40 years old.
And Cosmic Givers.
That's right. That's the end of that. Tyranny, sir. Makes you wonder if in the mirror universe they never left.
Very true. I mean, we've seen how the mirror universe works, and you know how the hierarchy works in the mirror universe. If someone has the opportunity to stab you in the back, they'll take the opportunity
That's right.
if it means they're going to get command. Or just like we saw in the Mirror Darkly Part 2 with Hoshi, she poisoned the Archer of the Mirror Universe, and she announced herself as Empress Sato for the Defiant.
It's one of the best two-parters in Enterprise.
Yeah.
Kirk's playing a chess game with him, and he's about to
Mm-hmm.
crack him open. And there it is. We offer the world order. We can.
His whole modus operandi. But, look at the way Spock was looking at him. Spock's studying him. And you can already tell Kirk doesn't trust.
Oh no, he doesn't trust him as far as he could throw him. He's like, oh shit, you do?
Yep. Yep. Well, that's her job as the ship's historian. She needs to know everything.
To do. Dude, nobody could do that. Nobody could do this but him like he did it. It just yeah.
Everyone else would be a cheap imitation. And again, for anyone who might be stopping in order to view this episode, click on the Cosme link pinned to the chat.
Yeah, we're having a good time watching this.
Oh, yeah. He's in complete control as far as those two are concerned.
Oh yeah.
That was really the only use that Khan had for her, was for her to assist him in taking over the ship.
Nope. Well, he liked her. You can tell he's attracted to her. But yeah, he wants to use her. He wants to wake up his crew and take over the ship and go pirate and do whatever they want to. Go find a planet and rule. This romanticism about a ruthless dictator.
Spock can't fathom why they have that romanticism and why they're looking at him like, he was one of the last greats.
There it is. Kirk's like, I can be against him and admire him at the same time because he did something that was absolutely crazy, and it worked for a while. He was bold. He went right after what he wanted, and Kirk, that part of him, Kirk respects. It's the other crap that he doesn't want anything to do with. And his final outfit change, he's in a Starfleet security outfit.
Yeah, he's a red shirt. He's about to die. No. Then we would have Wrath of Khan.
To build the world or conquer one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's his mistake right there. When he says, I'm surprised at how little humanity has changed. Kirk is hundreds of years more advanced than Khan. He is the alpha, he is the top dog, not just on the ship, but these captains are rigorously put through the ringer to prove that they can do what they do, that their bodies are in the top best shape of their lives, their minds are just as sharp. So he is constantly being tested as captain. That constant test and his knowledge of the Enterprise and Starfleet and this current generation is how he beats Khan. Khan underestimates him. He's like, you're just like those humans back on Earth. No.
Yep.
He is an alpha human that is hundreds of years more evolved than you are. Though you might be stronger, you might be faster, but he's got you beat. He's got you licked on intelligence and the way shit works on a starship.
Yep. Kirk knows which button to hit, put the ship on self-destruct, and without even uttering a word to the computer.
Khan needs MacGyvers to transport him over to his ship.
Shane, good to see you, brother. How are you doing tonight?
How's it going, man?
Shane, you know you're treading water there. Oh, shade, shade, shade.
And you never see any of the dudes besides Khan. Khan's the only one you see in that like chainmail looking armor. The girls though, you see theirs. They're
Yeah.
standing there. You see them in that. So maybe they, for whatever reason, they had to put the guys in clothes.
Well, who knows what kind of network restraints were put on them too for the chain outfits. I mean, this was the 60s. They couldn't even show a belly button back then on
It's
TV.
true. That
Perfect
is
Academy is a canon show. No.
what
Nope. What? What? Huh?
Starfleet.
Canon is
What?
anything. Canon is anything from 1966 to 2005, my friend.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Star Trek ended after Enterprise.
There are only 10 movies, 6 series, and that
Yes.
counts the animated series. Khan made a big mistake.
Oh yeah. And hell, Starfleet may have given him a damn planet. Starfleet might have put him on City Alpha 6 just like Kirk, or City Alpha 5 just like Kirk did.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's all of this was unneeded. All they had to do is be like, "Hey, we want a planet all of our own. Is there a little, planet out in the middle of BFE that we could just get put on, and colonize ourselves and be left alone?" Yeah, sure. Okay, here you go.
Well, it's just like we were talking earlier with Australia being a penal colony, and that could have happened with Khan and his people. I mean, technically, yes, it did with SETI Alpha 5 before SETI Alpha 6 was destroyed. And but who knows what kind of world that would have turned into? How could it change the game in not only that sector, but the entire Alpha Quadrant had there not been that explosion?
And this wasn't a bad idea by Khan. He just didn't understand what Starfleet is and what those officers are.
Mm-hmm.
Same problem he has with Kirk. He doesn't understand who he is or his level of intelligence. He just doesn't get it. He backhanded Uhura.
About it, a few hundred years have passed since Khan left Earth. The Earth that he knew from that point to the Earth he's waking up to, well, the Starfleet that he's waking up to, they're in the 23rd century. And so much has changed. Like I said, with Kirk. Kirk is so much more evolved than Khan realizes, just like the rest of the crew is so much more evolved than Khan realizes. And the systems on board the Enterprise are that much greater than they were of his own ship. There's a series of books called The Rise and Fall of Khan Noonien that really gives a good look at Earth during this time. Are you aware of that book, Loki?
Oh yeah, Oh yeah, I've got them. I've got a very very large collection of Star Trek books.
Because it does sound vaguely familiar, but it's not what I have in my collection.
What have you got?
Oh, geez. I have some Next Generation, some original series books, and DS9 books, and Voyager books. I mean, the first book I actually picked up was a Next Generation book called Mask. Not the episode Mask. Not the season 7 episode of Mask from Next Generation. It was a hard story, and it took place in season 2 of Next Generation. But as far as anything related to the original series or the original series movies, one of the first books I actually picked up was Probe, which was a follow up to what happened after the voyage home and how Starfleet wanted to know more about the probe.
Did you ever read the series about the Herc, the
No,
race that enslaved the Klingons and that the Klingons rebelled against, and that's where they got all their tech from?
I've never read it.
That series goes from um, the original series to Next Gen to DS9 to Voyager, and it's a 4-part series, but it goes through each of the original first 4 series, and it's really really good.
I'll have to look at for it, see if I can still find a copy.
Don't kill him, please, Captain.
No promises.
Now that guy was supposed to be super strong.
Well, we do. Vulcans are stronger than humans, but you
Shouldn't he
would
have like
think
torn
because
Kirk's arm off?
you would think. And yeah, getting back to my thought as well, we know Vulcans are strong, but as far as the eugenics humans, I would think they would be even stronger than Vulcans.
I think they're right around. Um, well, if you go by what you get on Enterprise, they would have to be because Vulcans are about as strong as Klingons. Um, Maybe a little stronger than Klingons, and the Klingons get their asses handed to them by um, the genetically enhanced. I can't remember what they call them. The babies that are in Enterprise.
It's been a long time since I've watched those episodes from Enterprise. I've drawn a blank. I will admit, when it comes to Enterprise, it's one of my least favorite of the original
Yes,
spin-offs.
yes. We can give Voyager a bad day all day for coffee jokes, but yeah, the first couple of seasons of Enterprise were bad. That last season, though, I really liked that last season.
Hmm. Yeah, especially when they had Manny Koto take over as the showrunner for seasons 3 and 4. That's when it started
Yes,
getting better. And
yes. It's a fight in engineering.
And Kirk's trying to use the environment to his advantage.
Yep. Like an early form of a Hurricane Rana leg scissor takedown.
Yep.
Hello, Lady Mist. And Kirk got him.
Yeah, he did. Now systems are back to normal.
And this one little scene's going to set up one of the best movies. What a waste.
But that also tells you what kind of man Kirk is by considering it a waste.
Yep. Oh. Here we go.
Mm-hmm.
And he's grateful. He's like, he's going to give me a planet. A worthy adversary is going to give me a planet. Huh. A superior woman. I will take her. I will take her. I will have her.
She is mine.
Empire.
And Shane says, to be fair, Khan did not know the real conditions of the planet and should never have agreed.
Well, it wasn't like that when they got there. They had no idea that City Alpha 6 was going to explode and throw the planet off its trajectory, off its course. So no one knew. Khan didn't know. He just got down there. He was like, okay, we hunt, we stay alive, we dress in furs. And then the planet gets knocked off its orbit and it becomes a hellhole. Which he blames Kirk for, too.
Remember when Chekhov first encounters Khan in Star Trek 2, you know, Chekhov even says, we left you on SETI Alpha 5. You know, that planet was thriving. And, you know, Khan goes, this is SETI Alpha 5, and he lets them know everything that happened.
Yep. And I love that. I love that. Let me just say I love the end, because the end of that episode, Spock says something poignant. He says, in 100 years, I wonder what will have sprouted from the seed we planted here today, going back to the whole idea of space seed. Mm-hmm. We're going to seed this planet with these super genetic freaks and see what happens. Well, what happens is they almost get wiped out, and they barely survive because the planet gets thrown out of orbit. And then they get rescued, and they take over the ship, and they decide to go kill the guy who put them there. But it's funny how this is the perfect This and Wrath of Khan are the two perfect ideas of selective memory. You
Mhm.
remember things a very specific way. Kirk remembers, I put them on this planet to colonize it and to give them a chance. I'm giving Khan what he wants. I respect him so much and admire the fact that he was this, you know, go-getting warlord that I'm going to put him on this planet and see what happens. We'll see what happens in 100 years. And then Spock says that. And they don't even make it 100 years, and almost all of them are dead. Only half of them survive, and they want revenge because it's all Kirk's fault. Kirk's responsible for the death of Khan's wife. Kirk's responsible for stranding them on City Alpha 5. Kirk's responsible for the planet getting knocked out of orbit. Kirk. And they have a very different relationship in Wrath of Khan. It's not one of mutual respect. It's one of, I got you banished me to this hellhole and you became an admiral. I hate you. Go ahead.
You became a high-ranking officer. I want you dead. It's because of your fault. I've lost my wife. I lost members of my colony. You might as well call them members of his colony.
Yeah.
And, I've lost my sanity because of you. Because we see in the Wrath of Khan that not everything's working upstairs.
No. And there's definitely a point where it got to be, is this my fault? No, it's Kirk's fault. It's all Kirk's fault. Kirk did all this. There is no taking of responsibility, just like Kirk killed his wife. How did the baby, thing end up in her ear? How did that happen? How did that work out? Who did that? Oh yeah, you did that. But it's Kirk's fault that happened, because if you weren't on that planet, that wouldn't have happened. Well, maybe if you hadn't tried to take over the ship, then that wouldn't have happened. Well, that's all because of this other problem. So it's a constant thing of, I'm going to take no responsibility for the bullshit I put out there. Wow, almost sounds like YouTubers. Not you, present company excluded, of course, but it's all everybody else's fault.
Well, that's the way our society is now. Something happens. Oh, it wasn't my fault. It was this person's fault. I mean, how many people do you know that are ready to, come up front and say, yeah, it's because of my actions that this happened? I don't know too many people that do that anymore.
Nope. There is no responsibility or taking responsibility.
I know myself, if a stream doesn't go well, or if, I have an outburst during a stream, it's all on me.
Well, most of us do that. Most of us that can self-reflect on our own crap that we put out in the universe, we get it. But there are people that do not. And part of that, he's a superhuman. Part of that superhuman is, like Spock mentions later, there's like a yin and a yang to it. Yeah, he's physically superior. He's supposed to be able to think faster, but there are also gaps where, like, the I've got to be powerful. I've got to be the winner. I've got to be better. It works to his detriment. And like we saw in this episode, when he's like, I see men have not evolved in the last 250 years. Yes, they have. And Kirk is the alpha of that evolution. At least that's what he's supposed to be. According to Gene Roddenberry, Kirk is supposed to be the alpha of this generation. He's supposed to be physically and mentally at the very, very top of the list to be a captain of a starship. And he beats him. He beats Khan. He defeats him. And then he's like, you know what? I'm going to let you go out and I'm going to let you conquer. But I'm going to put you on a planet where there's nobody else. So I'm going to put you on this planet. It's going to be hard as hell to survive, but it'll be your planet. And Khan's like, I see you are a man. You are a worthy adversary, Kirk. Mm-hmm. I will accept. And it's great. It's a great ending, but it doesn't end there.
No, it continues on. When we get the Wrath of Khan in 1982, that was the movie that put Star Trek back on the map. I know some might say the motion picture, having that come out, yeah,
It was
I know
rushed.
for
It was
people who
rushed.
got to see it, it was exciting. But you're
Star Trek: The
absolutely right.
Motion Picture was rushed. The fact that the print was still wet when they got
Mhm.
it to the theaters to show that night,
And the effects weren't fully done either.
no, and there were gaps in the movie missing because they couldn't finish it. So yes, is the motion picture good now? Yes, it's better than good. It's up there in those first four movies. It is now worthy of being in those first four movies. 5, not so much. It maybe if you consider it all a dream that Kirk had because he had beans with whiskey. He had Bones poisoned Kirk, and he had a bad dream. He tripped. 6 is in my opinion a good movie. It's not the best movie, but it's a good movie. But I mean, you've got you had Star Trek: The Motion Picture, which didn't deliver like it should have, but it was good. It's a lot better now. You've got Wrath of Khan, which was top of the list. Search for Spock right after that. Voyage Home is absolutely wonderful movie. That trilogy is awesome, and technically should have been the first 3 movies. But the motion picture, you can't write out the motion picture now because it's so good. But getting back to this episode, everything that's in this episode ties into the future of Star Trek, especially the movies. So the movie period, TMP, was what we used to call it back in the day, the movie period. This episode completely connects with what you get in the movies. And that makes this very special. Yeah, I love Trial or Trouble with Tribbles. I love Balance of Power. I love the Enterprise incident. I absolutely love what was the Planet Eater one?
The Doomsday Machine.
War Machine. Yeah, there you go. Doomsday Machine. Doomsday Machine's great. It's so great. But this one really connects because you get that later evolution of it. So, in my opinion, top 5, maybe the number 1 episode there is in the original series.
And again, I will continue to give Harv Bennett and Nicholas Myers credit for the fact that they looked at all 79 episodes and not only were trying to use those episodes to decide what the second movie should be, but also so they could get a better understanding of the characters and how the characters would evolve from how you see them in the original series to how you see them in the Wrath of Khan, the Search for Spock, and the Voyage Home. And, Star Trek V is the redheaded stepchild, but I will defend it in this way. It's about the brotherhood of Kirk, Spock, and McCoy.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
And, when we get to Wrath of Khan and how it just beautifully, like you even said, beautifully ties everything together, not just from Spacey, but from the original series itself up until that point.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. That is your true, that is what hey, we're going back to what made everything great. That's a true pivot to we want to make this great like it was before.
Well, even David Ellison, the CEO of Paramount Skydance, had said it, and we read an article about it last Sunday on Pop Talk, that he wants to go back to what made Star Trek work, and that's Wrath of Khan to Next Generation. Whether they actually deliver on that, who knows? Because I still don't trust anybody in Hollywood working on Star Trek after what we've seen with Kurtzman and J.J. Abrams.
No, absolutely not. I wouldn't trust anybody with it, especially right now.
Yeah.
Even if they came out and were like, "Hey, we're giving it to a fan," I'd be like, "What kind of fan?"
Yeah.
What kind of fan? That's very important.
Well, I've even said it on stream to Baron Orntag, Cash Money 007, my co-host of Pop Talk, that you get a group of us together, yourself, Baron, Cash, and several other people who have Star Trek knowledge. You get us all in a room, we could pump out a 26 episode season like that. We
Yes.
might, butt heads every now and then and say, "That's it. Get your batleth. We're going to war." On an idea, but you know what? We can crank out a full season with ideas, and a lot of them, again, would be looking at what we saw here tonight with Space Seed, looking at the Wrath of Khan, doing our own research, because I could say, "Oh, I know everything there is about Star Trek." That's not really true, because there are even things I forget.
Well, they don't want people that know Star Trek. That is the problem.
Yeah.
And that's not, a conspiracy theory. That's not us just dunking on them. They literally do not want you watching the original series or Next Gen or any of that to get ideas. They want you, okay, this is what it's good. They want to tell you, this is what it's going to be about, and this is where we're going to go. That is all that matters. Nothing, none of this other stuff and any of the things you've ever heard of or seen matters. And you go, well, why would you want to do that? Because it's ours now. And you're like, ew, now,
Well, not only that, I'm sure you remember they had somebody who was a credible writer writing for them in season 2 of Star Trek Discovery, and he just brought up the fact of what it was like for him to grow up in the 1960s, and somebody, got their feelings hurt. Yeah.
What he said offended her, and she got him fired. And he was a black man.
Mm-hmm.
He's a black man, and she got him fired. The liberal bullshit that you have to deal with, especially when it's like you're gonna get a brother fired because he was talking about what it was like for him. Are you serious? That offended me. Oh, I bet it did. And he's out of a job. No, I wouldn't want to work for anybody that would do that to somebody else. Just not happening.
No, and another sad fact about today's writers is they don't have the life experience that the writers of Next Gen and even the original series had. I mean, the writers of the original series, a lot of them had experience from World War II and the Korean War. So, if they're going to write a story that deals with war, they know exactly what they're talking about. And they definitely did deal with situations of war. I mean, look at Balance of Terror, submarine warfare. Star Trek to me has always been inspirational, but it's also been a thinking person show. You have to be able to critically think, in my opinion.
Yeah, you have to be able to use your brain. And you should be encouraged to. It's not, hey, this is the message, you should be worshiping the message. No, it's like, what did you get from watching this? Oh, well, this is the way I felt. Okay. And it's just like, wow, okay, you're not pressuring me to feel a certain way. I can see this or that in the episode, see what you're trying to tell me. Yeah, that's the whole point, is to get you to think more. Oh, okay. No, not anymore. Now it's got to be shoved in your face. It's got to be worshipped. You have to be completely okay with it. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. And shit you just don't want to deal with. That's Star Trek today.
Yeah. And I'm an advocate for going back to how things were, but until that actually happens, I'm not going to hold my breath.
Yeah.
But Loki, if you have anything else you'd like to say about this episode, please go ahead and do so.
Watch more Star Trek, guys. If you're watching this and you're seeing this on the replay, watch more Star Trek. It's always good. It's always great. There's always plenty of fun stuff to see. Just watch more Star Trek.
Yeah, absolutely, folks. If you say Star Trek isn't for you, do what a lot of us have done. Watch an episode from any of the series, any random episode, because back in the day, the original series was in syndication. And, episodes would come up on every weekend or every weeknight, depending on your location in the country or in the world. And I was able to find Tomorrow's Yesterday. Loki found Space Seed. There are so many episodes that somebody can find that is the catalyst for your fandom of Star Trek that gets you interested. I can even say, give somebody a Star Trek book. They might be interested in the book. I remember giving a girlfriend of mine in high school a Star Trek book because she was curious to know why I like Star Trek so much. So I gave her one of my books. She comes back and says, Mike, do you have any more? Yeah, I do. Can I borrow a few? I said, yeah, sure. And then I was thinking, my work here is done. We've got another Trekkie. But no, Star Trek is still worth watching, still worth revisiting. And if you need to find information about Star Trek, there's plenty of it out there. Heck, even ask Loki. Yeah. Ask Lady Mist. Ask Shane. Even ask Jace. I know he was in here. I probably skipped him. Yeah, I did. But ask Jace. Ask anyone. Ask Baron. Ask Cash. There's so much to Star Trek than what you see with other franchises. Star Trek, again, is a thinking person series. Yeah. Okay, phaser fights, torpedoes being fired at other ships, seeing how the ships explode like we have in different series and different movies is fun, but when you get to an episode like Space Seed and you see the chess game going on, it's not checkers, it's chess that Kirk and Khan are playing. That's what makes Star Trek still viable. And no, I do not recommend watching anything from 2009 to this year. Don't watch it. Stick with the good stuff. But Loki, before we get out of here, is there anything or anyone that you would like to promote?
You can catch me tonight hanging out over at Snow's. I should be hanging out over there tonight at like 9:15, I think, is when it starts. God only knows, he's always late.
Let me get his link.
Oh, you don't have to do that, dude.
I like doing it, Loki. I like making sure that I get the links for everybody so that they can subscribe to a channel, follow a channel. If I have somebody new come into the chat and they're doing something that's very interesting, and I took a look at it during the stream and I think other people might be interested, I try to get the link out there. Because I still believe in helping everybody grow.
Man, I hear you, dude. I hear you. Yeah, retweet, forward, respond, over on X, something, anything. I hear you, man.
I mean, especially with the way YouTube can be. And none of these other platforms are perfect. I'm not going to act like Rumble's the be-all, end-all, because it's not. And neither is Blaze, neither is Kick, neither is Twitch. But still, I'm going to do my part to help somebody grow because somebody's done the same for me. Paying it forward.
Yeah.
But Loki, I really appreciate you taking time out of your Saturday evening to join me tonight to talk about Space Seed. This was a lot of fun. And again, folks, if you're looking for a Star Trek episode to get you into Star Trek, Space Seed's the way to go.
Absolutely.
And before we get out of here, I do want to thank, of course, Baron Ormontag for renewing his membership. Thank you, Baron. Really appreciate it, brother. I also want to thank Helion for stopping by. I hope and pray for your brother. And if you need anything, just reach out to me, Helion. Also, Lady Mist, thank you as always for stopping in. Really appreciate it. You're always generous, you're always supportive, and always appreciate seeing you here. Of course, Shane, thank you, brother, for stopping in tonight, and thank you for joining me last night for the game stream, playing a little bit of Marvel Rivals, and I ended up finishing Mouse PI for Hire, just for the heck of it. And also Jason Fox of 540 Studio. Thank you, Jace. Really appreciate it, brother. And I just want to make sure I got everyone that showed up. Of course, a lot of folks do watch this on the replay. For anyone who watches this on the replay, please make sure that you subscribe to Loki and catch his morning shows on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And of course, his Friday night show as well. His link is posted in the description below, and I hope to see you all tomorrow for Pop Talk at 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We will be watching Project Hail Mary. I haven't seen it before. Cash hasn't seen it before. Baron hasn't seen it before, and quite a few people who have responded have told me they haven't seen it before. So this will be our first time viewing, our first time reaction. And also, channel members, if you'd like to join the panel for tomorrow night's show, you're more than welcome to. I'll make sure to have the link for you guys in the post section over on YouTube. But until then, everybody, live long and prosper.